Week 2 Day 1. Laconic, expressing much in few words. Since his speech was usually rambling, but this time I found it brief and laconic. Sense laconic. Adjective, formal, using very few words to express what you mean. She had a laconic wit. Laconically. Adverb, formal. Throng, crowd. Sense a howling throng of teenage girls surrounded the rap artist. Sense throng. Group, noun. A crowd or a large group of people. A huge throng had gathered round the speaker. Throng. Verb. To be or go somewhere in very large numbers. Crowds thronged the marketplace. The narrow streets were thronged with summer visitors. Plus to infinitive, thousands of people thronged to see the exhibition, while it was in London. Intrepid, brave. Sense the corporal received the Silver Star for his intrepid deeds in combat. Sense intrepid. Adjective. Extremely brave and showing no fear of dangerous situations, a team of intrepid explorers. Intrepidly. Adverb. Accost, to approach and speak to. Sense, if a surly panhandler should accost you, keep on walking. Sense accost. Verb. Sense I'm usually accosted by beggars and drunks, as I walk to the station. Reticent, silent. Sense even under repeated questioning, the witness remained reticent. Sense reticent. Sense adjective. Formal. Unwilling to speak about your thoughts or feelings, he is very reticent about his past. Most of the students were reticent about answering questions. Reticently. Adverb. Formal. Reticence. Noun. Formal. His reticence about his past made them very suspicious. The sword of Damocles. Any imminent danger. A king seated one of his subjects underneath a sword that was hanging by a hair, in order to teach him the dangers a king faces. Since although the president of the company seemed quite secure, he always complained that there was a sword of Damocles hanging over his head. To the point. Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president, was named Silent Cal by reporters, because of his laconic speech. One Sunday, after Mr. Coolidge had listened to an interminable sermon, a throng of newsmen gathered around him. An intrepid reporter accosted the chief executive. Mr. President, we know that the sermon was on the topic of sin. What did the minister say? He was against it, the reticent Coolidge replied. Week 2 Day 2. Furtive, secret, stealthy. Sense in a furtive manner she removed her shoes, and tiptoed up to her room. Furtive. Adjective. A people behaving secretly so that other people do not notice them, or of actions done secretly and often quickly so that people do not notice. I saw him cast a furtive glance at the woman at the table to his right. He made 1 or 2 furtive phone calls. There was something furtive about his behavior and I immediately felt suspicious. Furtively. Adverb. As she turned away I saw him sniff furtively under his arm. Furtiveness. Felon, a person guilty of a major crime. Sense the boss learned that Bob associated with a known felon, he fired him. Sense felony. Noun. UK old-fashioned or us legal. An example of serious crime which can be punished by 1 or more years in prison, a felony charge. He was convicted of felony. Felon. Noun. Legal. A person who is guilty of a serious crime. Plethora, excess. Sense, when the teacher asked why the homework had not been done, he was greeted by a plethora of incredible alibis. Sense plethora. Noun. Slightly formal. A very large amount of something, especially a larger amount than you need, want or can deal with. There's a plethora of books about the royal family. The plethora of rules and regulations is both contradictory and confusing. Hapless, unfortunate. Sense the hapless contest winner was unable to locate the lucky ticket. Sense hapless. Adjective before noun. Formal. Unlucky and usually unhappy. Many children are hapless victims of this war. No, haplessly. Adverb. Literary. Irate, angry, incensed. Sense my uncle was irate when the drunken driver swerved in front of us. Sense irate. Adjective. Very angry. We have received some irate phone calls from customers. Pyrrhic victory. A too costly victory. King Pyrrhus defeated the Romans but his losses were extremely heavy. Since in heavy fighting the troops managed to recapture the hill, but it could only be considered a Pyrrhic victory. If I had the wings of an angel. Casting a furtive glance over his shoulder, the felon slipped out the main prison gate, to be swallowed up in the British fog. A plethora of escapes from supposedly secure prisons embarrassed the hapless wardens. To compound their problems, the officials were badgered by irate citizens, who accused the guards of accepting bribes from convicts, whose motto was, "Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage." Day 3. Pretext and excuse. Since her pretext, of being tired, did not fool us for an instant. Sense pretext. Noun. A pretended reason for doing something that is used to hide the real reason. The border dispute was used as a pretext for military intervention. I called her on the pretext of needing more information. He came round to see her on some flimsy, obviously false pretext. Fabricate. To lie, to construct. Sense. Most fishermen can fabricate a story about the size of the one that got away. Sense. Fabricate. Verb. To invent or produce something false in order to deceive. He was late, so he fabricated an excuse to avoid trouble. He claims that the police fabricated evidence against him. Fabrication. Noun. The evidence he gave in court was a complete fabrication. Adroit. Skillful. Sense. My nephew was quite adroit at making model airplanes. Sense. Adroit. Adjective. Sense. An adroit reaction. Answer. Movement of the hand. She became adroit at dealing with difficult questions. Sense. Adverb. Adroitly. He adroitly slipped the money into his pocket. Sense. She adroitly avoided the question. Gesticulate. Move the arms energetically. Sense. I often marvel, as I watch the traffic officer gesticulate at the onrushing cars. Sense. Gesticulate. Verb. To make movements with your hands or arms, to express something or to emphasize what you are saying. There was a man outside the window gesticulating wildly. Gesticulation. Noun. Formal. No. Vigilant. Watchful. Sense. The shootings at Columbine High School made educators much more vigilant. Sense. Vigilant. Adjective. Always being careful to notice things, especially possible danger. Following the bomb scare at the airport, the staff have been warned to be extra vigilant. Vigilantly. Adverb. Vigilance. Noun. More careful attention, especially in order to notice possible danger. The police said that it was thanks to the vigilance of a neighbor that the fire was discovered before it could spread. A wet blanket. One who spoils the fun. Sense. Everyone wanted the party to go on, but Ronnie, the wet blanket, decided to go home to bed. Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is a novella by the Scottish author Robert Louis Stevenson, first published in 1886. The work is commonly known today as The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or simply Jekyll and Hyde. It is about a London lawyer named Gabriel John Utterson, who investigates strange occurrences between his old friend, Dr. Henry Jekyll, and the evil Edward Hyde. The novella's impact is such that it has become a part of the language, with the very phrase Jekyll and Hyde coming to mean a person who is vastly different in moral character from one situation to the next. Under the pretext of being a surgeon, he gained entry to the hospital. When interviewed by the director, he had to fabricate a tale of his medical experience, but he was so adroit at lying that he got away with it. It was not until the phony doctor began to gesticulate wildly with his scalpel that a vigilant nurse was able to detect the fraud. In the annals of medical history there have been a number of such cases. Day 4. Avid. Eager. Sense. Bill Clinton is an avid reader of mystery stories. Sense. Avid. Adjective. Extremely eager or interested, an avid football fan. An avid supporter of the arts. He took an avid interest in the project. Formal. She hadn't seen him for 6 months, and was avid for news. Avidly. Adverb. She reads avidly. We avidly awaited news of him. Avidity. Noun. Formal. Cajole. Coax. Sense. The parakeet refused to be cajoled into entering her cage. Sense. Cajole. Verb. To persuade someone to do something they might not want to do, by pleasant talk and sometimes false promises. He really knows how to cajole people into doing what he wants. I managed to cajole her out of leaving too early. The most effective technique is to cajole rather than to threaten. Rudimentary. Elementary. Sense. Since my grasp of algebra is rudimentary, I cannot solve the problem. The rudiments. Plural noun. The simplest and most basic facts about a subject or activity. It only took me an hour to learn pick up the rudiments of skiing. Rudimentary. Adjective. Formal. 1. Basic, her knowledge is still only rudimentary. 2. Describes methods, equipment, systems, etc. that are simple and not highly developed. Specialized. Some unusual fish have rudimentary legs. Enhance, intensify, heighten sense. It will enhance your enjoyment of an opera, if you know what the plot is about in advance. Sense enhance. Verb. To improve the quality, amount or strength of something. These scandals will not enhance the organization's reputation. Image. Enhancement. Noun. Enhancer. Noun. Something which is used to improve the quality of something. Enhancer is usually used as a combining form. Music can be a mood enhancer. I don't like to use artificial flavor enhancers in my cooking. Null enhancing. Suffix. Several athletes tested positive for illegal performance-enhancing drugs. Nuance. Slight variation in meaning, tone, etc. Sense. In reading the satires of Jonathan Swift, one must be vigilant in order to catch each nuance. Sense. Nuance. Noun. A very slight difference in appearance, meaning, sound, etc. The painter has managed to capture every nuance of the woman's expression. Linguists explore the nuances of language. To beard the lion in his den. To visit and oppose a person on his own ground. Since having decided to beard the lion, I stormed into the manager's office to ask for a raise. You've got to be a football expert. As an avid football fan, I try to see every game the Jets play. Whenever I can cajole my father into accompanying me, I try to do so. He has only a rudimentary knowledge of the game, and since I am steeped in it, I enjoy explaining its intricate details to him. It certainly does enhance your appreciation of football, when you are aware of every nuance of the sport. Week 2 Day 5. The best laid plans. Gloria Rogers overslept and then had to sprint to catch the same Greyhound bus that she boarded on the last Thursday of every month. After a 3-hour uneventful ride, she finally arrived at the bus terminal, where a courtesy van was ready to transport bus passengers to Visitors' Day at the state penitentiary. Although Gloria tried to act casual, she was more than a little nervous. Her boyfriend, Art, a convicted felon, had managed to gain admittance to the prison's hospital on the pretext of having a gallbladder attack. Under her own slacks and bulky sweater, Gloria was wearing a set of clothes that she removed in the hospital bathroom and passed on to Art. He planned to use them after making his escape in the back of the prison ambulance that was parked outside his ward. Art had spelled out his escape plan during Gloria's last visit, spending an hour trying to cajole her into being his accomplice. All that she had to do was appear to have a seizure. Then she would fabricate a story about her epilepsy while Art, with the smuggled clothes concealed under his prison bathrobe, would slip out of the ward during the excitement. Unfortunately for the schemers, a vigilant hospital guard spotted Art climbing into the rear of the ambulance and quickly foiled the escape attempt. The result was that Art had 3 years added to his sentence and Gloria was imprisoned for her role in the misadventure.